welcome to the second episode of the new version of the Stupidest Nerds podcast, where they're already laughing at me. Is this the third episode?
This is episode 3. Total 3.
But this is episode 2 of version 2.
With the funny graphics on the side.
Version 2.
This is a messed up number scheme already.
We're already... Hey guys, I'm Mike. I like messed up numbers. Let's see who else is here.
I'm Jeff.
That's so the wrong way to go for me. But yes, I am Mark. Hi, how's it going?
Did I like the spin around? It wasn't very good at all, was it?
Well,
Sorry.
We are on a Calgary Flames mat at this point. So
yeah, but I'm a big Calgary Flames fan. No, it was actually the last blanket that was left on clearance at because no one in Canada
there was a blanket emergency.
Well, I don't know. You always need blankets, Jeff.
In Canada, there could be a blanket emergency.
That's the Canadian response. That you can never have enough blankets.
Fair enough.
And obviously, all the Montreal ones are gone. All the Toronto ones are gone.
Yeah, on the East Coast.
So and then probably even after that, like Canucks ones were gone. And you're left with the old Calgary Flames. I'm sure there's probably an Ottawa Senators blanket, but Amanda bought them, so I don't know.
No,
nobody likes Ottawa
Senators.
Anyway,
shall we start the show?
Yeah, because we can't. That's about all the hockey talk I think we could muster.
Yeah, definitely.
We are going to start the show by talking about, and I think I'm going to get Mark to start this off because Mark saw Terminator.
I saw Terminator Genesis. So the fun part about that is that it. I'm going to spoil a whole crap load.
I think that's fine.
So anybody out there in internet land, don't forget.
I bet there's a Terminator in it.
Dude, there is. How did you figure that out?
New ground.
Brand new ground. So basically, what happens that I want to get into deals with the time travel aspect of this film.
Right.
I don't know what it is. I used to think time travel was one of those cool things. Like, I'm a big fan of Back to the Future and all that sort of stuff. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, well, if someone changes something in the past and then gets to the point again where they're at in the present, well, then they wouldn't have gone back in the past at that point. So it changes everything. So naturally, that's a paradox that I'm talking about. In this case,
I feel already like it was way too early in the morning.
It's okay.
I'm good. I'm following. I'm good. I'm good for now.
So how does this land like within the original trilogy, or really the first 2 movies?
So take it from Salvation, okay? At the end of Salvation...
From Salvation?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where I take it, because the John Connor in this has the scars. He has the scars on his face.
Okay.
So basically what happens is they go for the final assault on Skynet in the future.
Right.
And there's a team that's going to Colorado, and there's a team that's going to go in Los Angeles. And John Connor and Kyle Reese are on the team that's going towards Los Angeles. So the central core of Skynet is in Colorado, and then what's going to happen, or what's going to be screwed around with as a backup plan, or how John Connor explains it is, once the central core goes down, Skynet's gonna try and protect himself with this weapon that we're going to destroy. Okay, great. Turns out it's the time machine. So basically within the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie, you're sent into Los Angeles. You're in this room where they basically send Kyle Reese back. At the time that Kyle Reese goes back, he's naked, he's floating. He looks over at John Connor, and the only way to explain it is Doctor Who comes in and does something to his face. Doctor Who being Matt Smith, Doctor Who. Okay. So, anyway, he goes back in time. He goes back to 1984, the standard Terminator idea.
Right.
Way too much setup for this topic. I'm gonna have to reset the timer. So once he's back in time, something has already been fucked with, because Sarah Connor comes around and has all this knowledge and has a Terminator with her and all that sort of stuff. So this begins exactly right. This totally begins the paradox. So if someone sent a Terminator back to her time, back to her, you know what I mean, primitive teenage years.
Right.
How did things evolve exactly the same way so they would meet up with them and that sort of stuff as it comes through? So because they changed something in the past, that timeline should have changed, right?
Right.
As they go through the movie, I'm not going to spoil everything. As they go through the movie and eventually win the day, well, now Kyle Reese is still alive. The Sarah Connor is still alive. Arnold Schwarzenegger is still alive. So now, technically, things have changed further up the line. So
the first 10 minutes of the movie are really no longer valid.
And how do people get sent back to help her? You know what I mean?
Address this particular issue when it should have never have happened.
Yeah. So this is what my problem is. Like, this happens in any kind of media when they involve time travel.
Right.
Days of Future Past. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you go to X-Men. When Wolverine comes back at the end of that, like, everything is reset. Yes. Everything is thing. So he didn't technically go back in time. You know what I mean? So this is what bothers me.
So do we know what happens in Days of Future Past? Not to get off Terminator, but do we know, like, at least for the comic books, it's actually a split timeline?
Is that, I mean...
Right, so Days of Future Past actually continues, but because Wolverine went back, or Kitty Pryde in the comics went back, it actually created a split in the timeline, and a new dimension was created with the fix. But Days of Future Past continued to progress in the comics. So that's what I presume happened in the movie.
I mean, that's a good possibility. I just, doesn't it mean that Wolverine no longer exists? So if it's like the picture in Back to the Future, shouldn't they have just
not taken the picture?
You know what I'm talking about, him and his sister.
Yeah, the plot device of like,
So, wouldn't Wolverine have totally disappeared from the picture?
In the comic book, basically Wolverine is jumping dimensions, is how it's basically understood. So there was the singular timeline, which was leading to Days of Future Past in this story. And he was essentially a part of that. But then when he went back in time, I believe because he was responsible for that split in the timeline, he got pulled over into the universe, the safer universe, the universe we understand is the main timeline now.
So really, what you're saying is it's not time travel so much as it's like a super high level exploration of quantum
mechanics.
Physics. Yeah. Which, I mean, I guess if we ever figure out how to do time travel,
that's one of the best ways I've heard of explaining time travel and all these paradoxes, though, right? It's like you actually don't change the future because of all this jumping around, jumping back and whatnot, right? But like splitting the timelines is cool, but it's also a great moneymaker because then Marvel can always go back and revisit Days of Future Past, which was immensely popular. So
with Terminator, to bring it back to where we started here, I think, and I mean, there's a lot of unanswered questions. Who sent the person back to Sarah Connor back in 1973, that type of stuff. But I mean, it's also a trilogy. I think the money behind this was, or the organizers and producers were having their mind set on a trilogy of new stuff.
It's all about like it could be a trilogy, it could be 4 movies now. It's all about the brand now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably how it was done. It's probably figured out in the boardroom.
But I feel like with something like that, I guess the only thing is, it sounds like it was used well enough. I honestly, I've seen the Terminator movies, but it was more the original 2 when I was a kid. I don't really recall too much. I've never seen Salvation. I haven't seen this one. So I guess more so I'm thinking like X-Men. And the X-Men is pretty good in the fact that it kind of erases out the crap that happened with the third one.
That's and its purpose. I didn't think it was that great.
Yeah. I mean,
there's so much more to tell, even just within that universe, and I think they really just... let it slide.
But Star Trek, I think, did it well. Because it's cool because it leaves the room to pay all the fan service nods, which they did in the second one, and still tell similar stories, but tell them in a new way. I just hope it doesn't turn into something that just gets... I mean, it's a bit lazy, I suppose, but it's not terrible. It's kind of cool because you get the nostalgia, you get the new story, newish story. But
I just get... It to me isn't a lazy storytelling, but it's just complicated. There are a number of different issues that you have to address to make sure that it works. And what I need to hear at the beginning of everything is whether or not they subscribe to it, like the Marvel universe, the multiverse, right? Or whether or not there is one timeline and you are going to severely screw it up or not screw it up, depending on your actions and what you're doing. Yeah. And that wasn't established very well in Terminator. I think in the other areas it was.
Yeah, well, I think most of them do go in with the intention of... That's the thing, like a lot of these movies that you're seeing reboots for and things like that, there's never the intention to keep it going. It's like, well, we can make this one movie and let's see where it goes from here kind of thing. And then you're kind of falling over yourself backwards, which is never where you want to start to do something like this. But in terms of time travel movies, I know the cup's up there. Yeah. Have you guys seen Primer?
Primer, no.
Primer is like the ultimate fuck you to time travel. I'll send you the link to there's an XKCD comic that tries to like graph the timeline in Primer, because they end up almost going back in and on themselves, their timeline, like multiple times. It's basically a total clusterfuck. And that's what I assume, like real time. I don't really think that there is such a thing as going back in time. But if there were, I would imagine that Primer is pretty much the ultimate example of it's just not going to work. You're going to fuck it up. So,
all right. So moving on.
So we're going to go to the next one. So Comic-Con has started, is going on. It's almost done. I think tomorrow is the last day. Tomorrow would be Sunday. What day is this? The 10th?
Today is Saturday.
Today's the 11th, so I think the 12th is when it all wraps up. So, there's been a few big things, mainly Star Wars, I think, has really kind of won the Comic-Con. But Jeff, I know you've got a list there,
I
possibly.
just got a couple things that stood out to me. Like, again, the Star Wars stuff was definitely, like, the biggest stuff. Like, this year's SDCC seems to lack a lot of like the day-to-day like hype I found that last year's brought, but of course like the Marvel Cinematic Universe isn't involved this year, so that does kind of take away from it. But that doesn't mean there isn't some fun and interesting stuff to talk about. Star Wars, so Disney's still bringing it, and Star Wars I think still is shown, has a lot of the attention. But some stuff that stood out to me was there was a Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover announced. That's all I know about it.
In comics?
They couldn't do that legally in film yet, I don't think.
I think it would be awesome to watch Batman punch a Ninja Turtle.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Like TV-wise, though, like the...
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you for a visual here. Picture the Joker scene in Dark Knight, but with Michelangelo instead of the Joker. Go back to...
I think it's a great crossover. Two classics from my childhood. What can go wrong? But like they previewed, I believe, episode 1 of Supergirl, which is something they did, I think, with Flash.
I am so stoked about that. Like, I like Superman. I really like Superman. So anything related to
really,
dude, it's
Superman is unlikable as fuck. Anyway, go ahead.
I mean, it's coming on CBS of all stations, right? Like, so I'm very excited about that. And just to see, I think it's going to be at least related to some of the CW enterprises as well.
I believe it's a shared universe.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, which is awesome. I don't think we'll see a lot of crossover in Supergirl's first season, though. Oh, no. But
sounds like Mark's writing.
Yeah. From what I understand, they're sharing the universe with the other 3 shows, which is Arrow, Flash, and Heroes of Tomorrow, which has yet to air.
Legends of Tomorrow.
Is it Legends of Tomorrow?
Yeah.
This whole time I've been calling it Heroes of Tomorrow. How embarrassing. But yeah. So I mean, it looks pretty solid. Looks well shot. The funny thing about Supergirl is like nowadays she's like kind of a pissed off character. In the comic books, she's quite like angry at everything.
I apologize if I screw up her name. Melissa Benoist or Benoit, Benoit, whatever.
When you read names, it's.
She's from Glee. She came from Glee.
Oh, really?
So to put her in a role that's supposed to be very pissed off, I don't know.
No, this is very, very much I would say a classic look.
Which one was she in Glee? I don't want to admit that I watched Glee.
It's more newer stuff. I don't know names.
Okay. She played the coach.
No, she didn't. Can't fool me, Jeff. But that would be hilarious.
She is blonde in Supergirl. She was brunette in Glee.
All right. I watched the first 2 seasons. That's really all I can say. Anyway, so back.
No, sorry, keep going.
Nice classic look at a classic representation of Supergirl. Superman does exist in this world as well, which is kind of cool because again, like Arrow exists and the Flash exists, the CW incarnations. So that's all very interesting, and yeah, I mean, it looks like it's well shot, and we'll see how they manage the powers. And the thing about like these super whatever characters is you have to power them in such a way where it's still like amazing, yet they have
fallible.
Fallible, and have to have some sort of struggle, right? So
that's why I don't like Superman. He seems almost infallible. Like, anyway, that's why he's unlikable.
Just to rebuke that point, it's like
tonight.
How do you the cool story is how do you make somebody who is that godlike relatable in daily life? Well, that's the thing. Superman's story is not so much, I feel, about Superman as it is about Clark Kent and how he relates.
I think like Superman's stories go 2 ways. It's either about Clark Kent or about hero worship. Right? It tends to fall in one or 2 categories most of the time.
I think it's only because when I think of Clark Kent, I think of that series with Dean Cain, Lois and Clark.
Lois and Clark.
When he shaved,
awesome.
When he shaved his face with the laser in the mirror, his laser eyes.
Yeah.
Who
wouldn't do that?
Sweet.
That's how I would do it.
I don't know if this is on your list, but the thing, and it was like a super minor announcement, but Iron Giant is coming back to the theaters with a new print. Very excited about that. I'm a really big Iron Giant.
Iron Giant's a classic.
You like the Vin Diesel, do you?
Yeah, anytime. I'm going to confuse the 2. Wait, are you tricking me?
The Fast and the Iron Giant? Yeah. No, wait.
I don't know if you're confusing me again. I get those 2 confused all the time. I feel bad because they both kick my ass. But no, it's kind of a nice... But the Star Wars announcement, so I didn't see all of it, but I'm told they're having character movies. Or character...
Yeah, Han Solo has a movie.
Yeah, and...
Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
And...
There's a third, I think.
Missing? I think one of the pilots...
Well, it's Rogue One, isn't it?
Rogue One? Is the whole squadron? I'm not sure.
I mean, Rogue One is going to be about how they stole the plans for the original Death Star, right?
Very cool.
More of a... At least from what I've read, it's going to be more of like a war type film.
That's awesome, though.
So
that's fantastic.
It's going to be cool.
Yeah, that'll be great. I've tried to avoid too much of the Star Wars hype train just because I don't want to get overexposed to what's in the movie before obviously it comes out. But it's hard to avoid. But I mean, I don't know who can't help but be excited. It really looks like they're kind of going back to the original trilogy and trying to, bring that style and feel back while still keeping it very modern, though, and updated for sure.
And that's the thing. I mean, I know people are concerned with all this. Like now, there's all this Star Wars stuff, and Lucas doesn't have control. But they haven't been doing great things with it, right?
We all saw what happened when he last had control. So.
Yeah, like I think it's great. I think, like seeing like Battlefront, we talked about Battlefront last time. I looked a little bit more into it afterwards. I can definitely see where the hype train is on it. I think this is good things, and if they falter a little bit, that's fine. It might take them a while to find their footing.
Here's the deal, though: if Disney did not take over LucasArts, we would not be getting Star Wars.
There'd be nothing. You'd be getting another.
There'd be no movies.
You'd be getting the super deluxe DVD,
exactly,
Blu-ray print of the first 3 episodes.
I think at the stage that people started arguing about or bitching about Jar Jar Binks and shit like that from the originals, Lucas was just, I'm taking my ball and going home. Yeah. I don't want to
just get
part
these
of it. Yeah.
other 2 movies done and get out of here, basically, right?
I think it's good things. I think I could see it faltering a little bit, like trying to find its way. But I think Disney's got the gumption to stick through it. I know there's a lot of Walking Dead announcements too. I don't watch Walking Dead, so
I saw I'm sorry, I'm a big fan. So I saw the trailer for season 6. That looks friggin' wicked. And then Fear the Walking Dead, which is sort of the prequel series that they're going to come out with. I think it starts in August. So it's centered around a Los Angeles school where everything, like homeless people and people who are on the fringe of society start to become zombies because they die. They just, their healthcare is poor.
At a school?
And
why do they let these homeless people at a school?
It's centered around a teacher, and like that's the core.
But why are homeless people at a school?
Because it's Los Angeles, Mike.
See this. These are the things.
Michelle Pfeiffer comes out.
The Canadian sensibilities we have to this podcast are don't let the homeless people out of school.
From the trailer, it's like in parks and in stuff like that. It seems a lot of homeless people are the ones who start to become zombies, and I think that makes a lot of sense. That's how it would start, right?
Yeah, all those homeless people, they just.
People who don't gravitate towards healthcare are the ones who are probably going to die. I'm not trying to say all homeless people are zombies.
No, I'm trying to be a dick. I know what you're saying.
Make sure anything that is flared up like that goes to Mike and not to me.
How are homeless people going to watch this? It's on the internet. You can't get the internet if you don't have a home. Science.
Wow.
I said it.
It looks really cool. It's got a lot of recognizable faces that I've seen in other stuff, but I can't put names to faces, right? Like it's there's if you remember the Die Hard with Justin Long. So the fire sale, they're whatever it's called. The FBI agent, the guy who looks like he's either Samoan or he's from Arabic descent. That guy is in this, and he's a really good actor. I love that guy. Yeah. There's like a few other teen faces and stuff like that. But
does it look like I'm still finishing up season 5? But does it look like they're switching up the pacing? So is it actually taking place before, or is that just like the first episode where you see before, and then like it's a year later in the second episode?
Well, it's at the very beginning of the outbreaks. Okay. So how things sort of transpire is what they're going to, how it got to, oh my God, someone's sick and really bad, to. Right. Society is dead, and I think that's a really good place for the series to go.
Bring some life into it and rejuvenate, because like the thing is with the current Walking Dead series, I know we got the cup here, but it's like they have to get like captured, and it's always like it's now we gotta become badasses again. It's always getting our groove back. It seems and I like the show. It's just like that seems to be the same mechanisms that they're using each season, at least to me. But I'll check out the new series.
All right. So we are now on to app use. And this one kind of spurred out of a little bit of, I guess, a few things. So we kind of thought it would be interesting to see what kind of tech that we are using daily, like the kind of sites, apps, if there are YouTube channels, Twitch streams, that kind of thing. Just the kind of what your regular day in tech looks like. And at first, Mark asked, "What apps are you using?" And I use a BlackBerry, so I don't use any apps. That's a lie. So I had a note, and it kind of died. But generally speaking, I am quite the minimalist when it comes to phones. I worked selling them for a long time and teaching people how to use them, and after I was done with that, I kind of got sick of it. So I keep it to the bare minimum. I don't browse Twitter a whole lot on my phone because I find it not super useful. But I do browse a lot of Reddit. So the Reddit apps, there's a few different ones. Obviously not the one actually provided by Reddit because that one is garbage. But the other one, I think Reddit is fun for Android. There's a Reddit in Motion for BlackBerry, which is clever because RIM makes... So it's RIM. Yeah. See, it's serviceable. It's not as good. No. And Chromecast. I use a shit pile of Chromecast. I think it's probably one of the greatest things that's out there now. But I'll turn it over. Who wants to?
Yeah, I'm quite big on Chromecast as well. It's definitely something I use daily. And what Chromecast has allowed me to do is I'm still a cable subscriber, and before where I'd have the filler shows on whatever, how to build a deck on TLC or whatever the heck it is.
The divorce horse on TLC.
Yeah.
The divorce horse?
Look it up. It's a funny YouTube.
There's a show someone was telling me about on maybe country music television about people adopting puppies. Yeah.
Isn't that just a regular thing people do?
I don't know. But yeah, so big on the Chromecast, and that allows me to fill in the background time, and when you're doing other things, just pop on YouTube or Netflix on Chromecast. So that's been fantastic. That's a big user for me. I have a Fitbit. That's a daily thing for me as well. That's been really good. For me,
you can tell you and I don't have Fitbits, huh?
That's not a wide angle lens.
That does a great job of just getting me up, getting me moving. So I use a lot of that. And when
I would need the one that delivers an electrical pulse. So get out of bed.
Stitcher is what I use for podcasts right now. It seems to be great for me. I hear that there's other great podcasting apps for Android, but Stitcher just seems to be so simple. The offline mode works great if I'm in the car. And actually something you were talking about a while back is the PC Plus mobile app.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, really good. Really good.
So time to interrupt this with a plug for my bank. PC Plus, and it's again, I don't know who listened to this besides our moms, but if you are outside of maybe, well, I guess I assume it works all across Canada. Yeah, it works across Canada. It's basically I think they've got Kroger cards in the States. It's basically like the grocery store's reward program.
It's a point system, yeah.
But what's fantastic about the app is you can use it to scan just like you would assume you would, but it also gives you coupons for more points that you go in and you have to load them in. So you actually have to go look at the stuff, but it knows what you've bought and gives you coupons based on what you bought last time. It's fantastic. You get extra points.
Yeah.
I save all my points for Christmas. I don't have to pay for groceries. I'm up to $200 in free groceries already. So I use the MasterCard.
I keep using them because I'm just always so excited when I earn it.
Yeah.
But that's actually a great idea. Maybe I'll start doing that. But yeah, it'll load once a week, and yeah, you have to go into the app, you have to load it, which is a great mechanism because it engages you, and it knows what you buy a lot of. I buy a lot of peppers and mushrooms.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure every week mine had tomatoes.
Yeah. So it's always a couple hundred for those items per dollar or whatever. And yeah, it's great. So every time I walk into that grocery store, I'm like, man, I gotta take a look. One
thing that does fuck it up though is when you buy your I don't know how you purchase some goods, but peanut butter, for example, I buy peanut butter like twice a year. It's in the like industrial size.
Yeah.
Because we use a lot of it, but I don't want to buy like 10 little containers. I'll just buy one big one.
No one needs 300 mils of peanut butter isn't going to cut it.
It's not cutting it, no.
A syringe filled. Just squeeze it.
Yeah. But as soon as you buy that one, the next week they're like, oh, yeah, $10 in bonus points on... Like, fuck, I just bought peanut butter.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the only problem with the app. But go ahead.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if we're gonna talk about the app, I wish it could be customized a little bit more. Like, if you could like enter in some of your buying habits, if it like asks you like how often do you actually buy? Like, is this promo useful or something like that? And how often do you buy? That'd be kind of nice. So that way, it kind of maps it out a little bit more as opposed to just always pushing the same thing each week. But at the same time, it gets me going to the grocery store to that particular one. It gets me buying. I probably spend an extra
Is it
20,
iOS compatible? Because I don't have this one.
Yeah, definitely get it. It's well worth it.
I think it even works on Blackberries and Windows
Phone. Gas
phones.
from the gas, like that grocery chain's gas bar. Don't pay at the pump. Pay inside, so that way you can get the extra points off your gas too.
Oh wow!
For your card, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. And another classic app I really like is Duolingo. It's not a daily use, but I always seem to keep coming back to it. I learned French. I went to a French school and when I was really young, and it just helps me stay sharp.
Vous parlez le français?
Duolingo, and not gonna wax poetic in French.
We're not gonna have a French version podcast.
No, definitely not.
Good. Well, the YouTube closed captionings will just freak out if that happens.
I think so.
Great.
All right. Look, I spent it the right way this time.
Yeah, you're going the way I like.
Nobody wanted to be blinded by the light here.
Go ahead. I guess it's my turn. Yeah. I have a lot on my phone. Like, way
you
too
do
much.
actually. Of any person that I've you've got the apps to run like the.
Yeah, I feel like you're the most efficient with your phone. Though.
Yeah,
like you run the GoPro.
Because there's just so much that I like to be able to do. So, like, we had a teleprompter.
Mm-hmm.
We still do have a teleprompter. I have apps that control my phone and an iPad to do that. I use, I'm a techie geek sort of stuff, and I'm in the middle of building some video stuff at work, so I have pinouts, you know what I mean? So I can just go load up an app. It's like showing me pinouts on an XLR connector or what I should be wiring for a USB if I wanted to get ambitious and try that. Soldering a USB connection is not something I want to try and do. But I mean, that's a lot of where a lot of my stuff fills into. But I mean, I just day to day, not work related, I use the camera a lot. You know what I mean? Like just the camera in your phone. I'm like, oh, okay, take a picture of that. What the hell is that? Send it to somebody who might know it or whatever.
Right.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like I'm on those every day.
Right.
Just because everybody else leads a more interesting life than me.
No, they go take pictures. See, this is the thing. So I like the camera, and I get what you're saying, but to me, the camera almost gets in the way of like, just go fucking do the thing. Like, I hate going to a restaurant with friends, and I almost avoid the friends that will take out the phone and like take a picture of it. Like, unless the chef came out and like fucking juggled the plate to your table, it's food. He's probably made fucking 50 of them today.
It's true.
Fuck right off. Just eat the goddamn thing. No one gives a shit.
No, I'm not one to do that. What I am trying to do is like, okay, is that the model number of the mixer that I want? And then I'll like look at it or something.
It's become a great way to like not take notes.
You're damn right.
Like, I don't think anyone uses the notes application on their phone.
Oh.
They have the. All right, so sorry. Jeff uses.
Oh yeah, I do. Like, I was using Evernote very heavily to organize, what we do here, and just like general goals for myself. And I recently just moved most of that stuff, some stuff still stays on Evernote, but most of it to Google Keep. But I still use Note apps very heavily. But
this is how you can tell I don't organize the things.
I'm the opposite of you. I don't mind like taking pictures of the food and stuff like that. Ugh. I hate when I'm at like a meeting or trying to organize something, and I'm sitting here like taking notes, and someone like pulls out their phone and just sticks it right in the air, or starts snapping pictures of a board or something like that. No, man. Like, be a grown man, get a piece of paper and a pen and write shit down. Like, you're interrupting everything. There's flashes going off. Someone's fucking talking here. Like, what are we doing?
It's okay. It's okay.
It's upsetting. Upsetting. But speaking of,
but see, I wouldn't do that. Like if you go to the end, like whatever, if there's something you're like, okay, I need this. I wouldn't use it as like a replacement. Just
from my experience, like that's how I've seen it. And like, you know, like you're taking a picture of someone else's writing half the time. Like, how is that even feasible? And like, how do you reference that? Like, where are you going? Okay, like now you're pinching the zoom to try and figure out what is that, a P or an R? Like, come on.
We've got the cup, guys.
We do.
All right, Google Photos is excellent. I don't know if anyone's used that.
Is that like Picasa?
The new Google Photos? No, check it out. It's excellent. It backs up everything.
I've got a BlackBerry
on your desktop. It syncs your desktop, your PC, your tablet, everything, and it like awesome customization. If you're not using it, use it. That's it. We got the cup.
Is anyone using BBM?
We're gonna make Jeff go back through this video and put all of the links to all of those apps.
Annotate that shit. All right, so this one is kind of fun. Summer gaming. I know summer is obviously not the prime time to do. I find that's like more of a winter thing, but there's always a few games that I want to get caught up on. And I'm gonna say this because Jeff and I have recorded before. I have like the most retarded Steam collection. Played none of it.
Ridiculous.
I play a lot. I've been playing Counter-Strike Go. I've diversified a little bit.
You got away from Dota?
Got away from Dota. I'm playing a little bit of CSGO. I'm terrible at it. But I picked up a game that I actually had already beat. Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Oh my goodness. How many times have you beaten this?
A few, which is rare for me because I never. There's lots of games that I start.
The one game.
But the thing about Human Revolution is I was in Staples.
Yeah.
And they had their discount bin. It was $10 with an extra 25%
all the games
off.
in Staples are just now discounted.
They
come in and they immediately slap on that 25% off sticker.
But the thing about that one was it's got the expansion stuff or whatever, and they fixed the boss fights because the problem with that game is they farmed out the boss fights. It doesn't match the flow of the game at all, so I wanted to check it out with that. But I played it on PC before, and I'm gonna sound like that PC dick. Holy fuck, is it an annoying game to play on? I don't know how you use a fucking controller.
Yeah,
Give me a goddamn keyboard and a mouse. I can't aim for shit. Run around like an asshole. Anyway, so PC gamer problems. But I'm also looking to... I'm going to finish Alien Isolation because I feel like we played...
You feel like that you need more punishment in your life?
No, we just got to the alien. Like, that's where the good part... What? I assume we spent like 3 hours trying to get to the alien. If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, we'll put a clip here.
I'll link it up.
Yeah. Jeff and I played through the game... And it basically turned into an idea that we haven't started yet, but I think we should to get through some of that backlog I have. But basically just playing the first hour of a game, like, is it worth it to keep going? And if you played the first hour of Alien Isolation, the answer is no. It's fucking boring. But we finally got to see the alien, and I feel like I owe it to the game. I really like Alien. I'd kind of like to finish it. And a friend of mine gave me a copy of The Witcher 3, so I feel like I should at least play through some of it.
Oh, very nice.
But I've played a bit of it, and I don't know. It's a fun game, but it's not everything I was hoping it would be.
I was playing through The Witcher 2, and I've played a lot of RPGs, Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, and whatnot, and others. I seem to be having a problem going back to that format. it's a long, arduous.
The Dark Souls
process.
sort of.
Yeah, like you're always plugging through. You're always plugging through. Like it's
every day I'm grinding.
Yeah, like it's just so much grinding.
So what you're saying is you're not an MMO fan?
No, I'm really not.
That's really one kind of genre I can't get into.
Yeah, no, I can't. I can't get into it. But yeah, I mean, The Witcher 3 looks awesome. Obviously, it's being rated very, very highly. It might be the game of the year for the first half of the year so far, from all the hype that we're seeing. So it does have my attention, but I just thinking about playing it. I'm like, I don't know if I can commit to the grind. I don't know if I can do it.
What are you?
So I got I got Shovel Knight. And I got Titan Souls for my Vita.
Titans.
It's where you have a bow and arrow, and you can only shoot it and then suck the arrow back to you. And it's basically just a game full of boss fights. It's done in a neat sort of 8-bit sort of art style. It's really, really cool. And really, really hard. Like 80s hard. You know what I mean?
Isn't Shovel Knight equally as hard? Or?
Shovel Knight is not.
No, okay.
It's what
it just has the look and feel of kind of like a
it's
Super Nintendo,
kind of like Mega Man, Castlevania, and a few other like old school games mixed together. I went through it and loved it. I really loved it. I'm thinking about trying the Plus version. Like you go through it once and then you come back and then it's the Plus version.
Right.
There is no health throughout the whole thing, and you have to like figure out where, like it's a hell of a lot harder. So those are two of the ones that I've been working out on. Looks like we lost our main camera over there. It's beeping at us. Yeah, it's beeping today.
Our watchful eyes gone.
So the main thing that I'm trying to work out is Mortal Kombat X. I'm so bad at fighting games, but I really like this one because I can actually start to feel the connections. You know what I mean? How you do combos and stuff like that. I'm not anywhere near where I would be competitive in this, but I like that it's
starting to flow for you.
Yeah, and together, it's something that's accessible. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's pretty. Everybody who likes the Mortal Kombat series sort of knows how to do this sort of stuff. So I'm impressed. I think it's pretty cool. That's where I'm at right now.
Not bad.
So Jeff, I know you mentioned about The Witcher, but do you have anything?
What I'm playing right now? Well, I just recently beat Tomb Raider. So that was really nice. So I'm going to continue.
You didn't wait for me?
No, I did not. I could not wait for you, Mike.
Fair enough.
Excellent game. You know, the end, the last 5-10% maybe dragged a little long in my opinion, but still a fantastic game. But I just picked up on in a Steam sale of Brothers, so I'm going to be getting at that soon. And to actually test out my my ability to play these styles of games, I'm playing Fallout 3, or I have Fallout 3. I'm going to get ready to play it. We'll see. Yeah, like I think this should be a game I can do, but I don't know. I'm still not sure. It could be the same problem as the Witcher 2 or 3. No,
we'll see. I put those both in the same category. You were talking about how it's a grind and stuff like that. Like you've got to go all through the crafting and find all of the different pieces and stuff like that.
You don't do any of that in Fallout. You just run around and shoot people to your heart's content. You don't need to do any.
Well, Fallout's open world, like the Witcher 2 anyways, it's they're large stages, but it's not just go wherever the hell you want and do whatever the hell you want. And what you did here, like it's still a little more structured. I haven't played Witcher 3, so I don't know exactly how it's set up there. It's probably a lot more open world, I imagine. But the announcement of Fallout 4 is what kind of piqued my interest again in Fallout 3. So we're gonna see, but like I'm just hoping my issues with Fallout 2 were because it's an older style game. Even though Fallout 3 is older, but I just feel like it was maybe ahead of its time a little bit. So we're gonna see how it.
If you're looking for the original Fallout experience, Wasteland is the game that you want to play. So, but if you're not looking for that, then please don't play Wasteland because it will crush your love for Fallout.
The original, no, that's not what I'm looking for.
That's too bad because it's good. It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff.
But yeah, those are my games.
I'm probably gonna play some Dota. Yeah, the international's coming. They just released
warm up for what?
For my competitive watching. If you don't play Dota, so what they do is they release the compendium, which is like a book of just random shit in the tournament. Like, here's the teams. You can vote like what team will make it through the qualifiers. And the more stuff you buy, because it's Valve, the more hats you get in the game.
Of course.
So it becomes this collection of like how much stuff you can spend. Anyway, a friend of mine, they just announced that if you get your compendium to level 1,000, and you can level your compendium by doing shit, but essentially what you have to do is spend money. Yeah. They'll send you an Aegis, which is the shield they give the winner of the international. And to get to level 1,000 is at least $200. And he sent a picture to me this morning of his compendium. It was level 1,300 and something. So that's
now you gotta man up.
No, I'm level 85. I'm very happy. I'm pretty sure I spent like $30 on it, and I don't mind spending a bit of money. Yeah. It's an awesome tournament. It's a game I play so much of, and the tournament's really awesome.
Would it shock you to know that I've never seen a game of Dota?
No, because it's not like. I find it in the same vein.
On the inside or on the outside.
I find it's the same vein as StarCraft. Like, you can't just watch it and know what you're looking at. League would be the same way. Smite might be a little bit better since it's got that third person. There's a little more action to it. But most MOBAs, if you watch them, you're like, this is fucking stupid. But I find for spectator wise, almost any other game is better than a MOBA.
When's the tournament?
I want to say the end of August.
The end of August. Okay, so maybe we can get like a run through, like a 101 or something on the topic of Dota. And
that's a lot of stuff.
Well, I mean,
we'll figure it out.
We've got
to shut the fuck up though now, and we're figured. Why end on a light and airy topic when we could delve into the deep depths of? I just wanted to bring this up because I don't really know how you guys feel about it. I've got a lot of feelings on the topic, cybersecurity, and I guess kind of like the internet at large. We don't have to talk about the specifics. I think if you look in the news or just kind of take a casual glance, you'll hear that it's a pretty common topic to talk about. What we're doing from like a few years ago, there was the PIPA and SIPA and all those things. And, the internet went dark for a day, which didn't really change anything. No. But it brought people aware that, there's legislation that affects net neutrality, but I think there's a whole lot of other things to it. So I guess I'll kind of ask an open question, how safe do you think we need to make the internet, and in terms of protecting people? And what do you think is going to be the biggest problem that we see, going forward with internet security? So I'll start by saying that harassment is probably one of the big things in terms of revenge porn, that kind of stuff that's out there. How do you guys feel about that? What should we be doing to stop it? Anything? Should the internet just be like the wild, wild west of... I asked kind of several questions there at once, so feel free to just talk about whatever you would like to talk about.
It is kind of like the wild, wild west. And I know with certain legislation having to be in effect about cyberbullying and that sort of stuff, I think that's warranted, and I think that's something that should be in place. There's nothing worse than reading news stories about, what happens after someone's been cyberbullied and it just gets to them. I don't know. I mean, the whole thing I understand about net neutrality is that it's basically trying to monetize more of the net than what people have been used to thus far. And I guess the question I always ask is, are people not making enough money now? If that's the case, then it somehow some senator somewhere is going to be asleep at the wheel, and bills are going to pass through that are going to allow net neutrality to get through. I know last week on Tonight, John Oliver, he did a really good piece about net neutrality where essentially it's boring content. Talking to someone who tapes legislation for a living, it's the worst thing that you can do to put something out there that is, boring, that doesn't attract the attention because it'll slip through the cracks. On the security side and stuff like that, I want banks and crap. I want the Sony PSN network to be like as locked up as it friggin' well can be, because man, that thing gets hacked like every Saturday morning or something like that.
Well, I think the scary thing about that, and again, I guess I can speak to it a little bit better because of the kind of my day-to-day life, is how much of a lack of security there is in all of these connected things that we have. So you look at things like now your thermostat is connected online. You've got apps that, control the lights and everything like that in your home, all these wearables. Essentially, there's very little security built into something like that. And I think that is going to be a big concern going forward. And it seems so minor and pedestrian, but it's a huge deal that all of these things are essentially out there talking to the internet, talking to other things, and there's almost no security in those. And I think that's going to be a vulnerability that will be exploited. And once it does, it's not going to be good. And people are going to, I think it'll set them back a long way, because I think they're right on the cusp of getting much more widely adapted. So that's one thing that I'm concerned about, to speak to the cyberbullying and things like that. And I feel like that's kind of cybersecurity is a bit misleading, because more so like, how do you feel about the internet right now is really kind of where we're going. I find it very troubling, because it's so hard. I think people that have grown up in this generation, it's so hard to balance. I want to be able to go out there and say what I want and look for things, search whatever I want and feel like no one knows that I'm doing this. It's not true. I mean, if you don't understand that this isn't all referenceable and searchable, it's going to make the internet a very difficult place for you. And I think there are a lot of people out there that don't understand that. But I do like that there is a perceived sense of anonymity. It's a bad way to approach security, but I'm not worried about the stuff I'm looking for, because I'm not looking for anything terrible. So I just assume everyone, but that's not the case. So how do you balance that? I don't have a good answer for it, but I think it's something that we should all at least be actively thinking about, so that when ideas come out, we can evaluate if they're good or not. Jeffrey, what would you like to talk about in this overarching?
Take us home, Jeff.
Well, I mean, as far as net neutrality goes, I think one of the things that we have to make sure we maintain is inequality among the folks that provide content, right? We have to be able to get one thing equally as fast as another thing without any interference from the middle, right? So it's just up to, and if it's Netflix, it's up to how fast Netflix can provide that service to me. And, the middleman shouldn't be able to affect that without Netflix having to pay more, because then that stops innovation from happening, and that stops a smaller, younger company from bringing up something that could eventually take down Netflix, and then we're all hot about that, right? So I think that's an extremely important issue, because if that territory doesn't stay neutral, then probably a lot of the stuff we're kind of worried about for like day-to-day stuff won't really matter, because it won't have access to the net as we understand it.
Yeah.
Right. It won't matter because they won't have the dollars to pay for it.
Well, I mean, especially consider something like this. Like, obviously, we don't have a production budget. Like, if we actually wanted to get this out to everyone that we could, like right now, we can put it on YouTube and it's there. Like, it's other than the Chinas and the North Koreas of the world.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're not interested in what we have to say anyway. But it's out there for everyone to see. We couldn't afford to have this out there available to everyone if something like, if there wasn't net neutrality.
Yeah, exactly. So that allows us to do it, or like we post onto YouTube. But if another younger, newer product were to come out for video streaming, it would never be able to take the first steps if the net doesn't stay neutral as it's said. So I think that's an extremely important issue. I think it's one of the most important that we're facing right now. But as far as just like the temperament of the internet, honestly, the internet's a terrible place. It is.
Yeah,
it's a terrible place. It's awful. If you don't want to deal with awful, terrible things, you basically have to disconnect. And I don't mean that like in a way to justify the terrible things that are happening. That's not what I'm doing at all. I think it's complete bullshit. It's disappointing to how people will react when there's a keyboard and internet and thousands of kilometers of fiber optic cable between people and what they try to say and do to get away with stuff. But I think really that's not going to change. It's never going to go away. The internet's a great place to try and hide in. Does someone know what you're doing at all times? More than likely, yes. It's just the internet we operate on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't think they do, but they could. It's the potential that
exactly
you could be on someone's radar.
I am primarily a Google user. My Google account is extremely important to me. So Google has the majority of my information, and it's just a matter of trust, right? I have to trust that I know Google is using this information, right? Because the information that they use, and they spit back at me to tell me how long my drive is going to be to work or whatever, right? But I have to also trust that when shit hits the fan, that they're going to do something to protect their users, right? We're the resource, right? We're the precious metal to Google, and if they do something to move us off of their product, they're in trouble. Mm-hmm. So hopefully they take that serious, and hopefully they're willing to fight to protect us from whoever is out there and all the jerks and dickheads. But just a thing on shaming people over the internet. I think really, future generations of parents have a lot of work ahead of them when it comes to just educating young kids about, what's out there, how to handle it, where to go, what to do. And I think we need physical places for people to go or call and talk to, but then we also need virtual places for people to go and talk to that are going to provide support systems. And honestly, sometimes you just got to fucking fight back, right? Someone wants to fat shame you or some other bullshit, call that motherfucker the fuck out. Put it on blast. Shame that person right back. Sometimes you just gotta do it. Call him out for being a dick.
There we go.
I'm not saying, don't like someone tries to fat shame, don't point out another physical trait of them, but call them out for trying to shame you. Put that on blast, right? Like, let them know that that's just not tolerated. But that's just my PSA.
We should hire you out as like ranger of the internet. The more you know. So I know we're done on this list, but I did want to point something out before we go, because I didn't want to end on a bummer of a topic. We're gonna get you to post the link that I showed earlier today to Jeff, and you saw it. Pornhub has developed.
I have to write Pornhub down in my notebook now.
You're welcome. Yeah, like you wouldn't have it somewhere else. They developed a twerking ass. I don't know if it's just a PR thing or... Anyway, it's hilarious. So I feel like we should at least throw up a picture or something, because...
So this is like...
Well, yeah, it's like a
link. Is it a YouTube link?
It's a YouTube link, and it's an ass. It's just an ass, and there's a video of them developing the ass, and it looks like it's linked to a phone, so you can control the rate of twerk. I don't know, whatever you want to.
Oh my god.
I just feel like if they suffered through 10 minutes of us lumbering through the weighty issues of the internet,
made it this far,
you deserve to see some ass. And you don't want to see our ass, so you might as well see this, because it's kind of funny. And that's really all I have to say. So I'm Mike. See, we shouldn't start at me, because then we got to go this way.
I'm Mark.
Hey,
Jeff.
Thank you very much for watching episode 3 total, episode 2 of Format 2.
It's really like Format 3.
I'm pretty sure.
Listen to the music, guys.
Thanks for watching. Peace.